Obscure. Obscure is a horror game developed by Hydrovision Entertainment. Obscure was released respectively on the PS2, Xbox, and PC in 2004. The story revolves around a group of 5 high schoolers who are investigating mysterious and obscure disappearances at Leafmore High School after hours. It's a collector game due to the sheer fact that when Obscure came out, it wasn't exactly in high demand since it was in a niche genre, and other major PS2 titles at the time kind of overlapped it in popularity. This led to not many people purchasing the game, and since not many people inevitably purchased the game, it became rare over time. More specifically, the North American and European variants are more rare and can catch a higher price than the Japanese variant. If you have a copy lying around, you may be able to make several $100 on eBay selling it. Rule of Rose. Rule of Rose was a horror game developed by Punchline and released by Atlas in North America and 505 Games in Europe. The game is a psychological horror that centers around you playing as a woman named Jennifer in 1930s England who is lured onto an abandoned airship orphanage, which is a very interesting combination, by a group of children called the Red Crayon Aristocrats. The game at the time was very controversial due to the elements of the game containing child abuse and sexual abuse regarding not coal miners. This combination of things resulted in the game being pulled by retailers in the UK and Italy, which inevitably caused political backlash in certain parts of Europe, which disrupted the distribution and caused a limited print run. In the United States, Atlas produced a small quantity of copies due to the game being more of a niche title to say, and controversial. Overall, the game sold quite poorly and it was backshelved until people revisited it and realized it's sort of a holy grail to speak in the horror genre. Kuon. Kuon is a Japanese horror game released by From Software, the same developers who went on to produce a small indie title called Elden Ring. Kuon is set in Kyoto during the Heian period. Kuon is divided into 3 interconnected chapters: the Yin phase, the Yang phase, and the Kuon phase. The plot centers around spirituality and curses, which is a very popular theme in the horror genre released during this time in Japan. The game wasn't popular at launch, receiving negative reviews and selling quite poorly, which is a theme so far in this compilation. It failed to sell a large number in Japan. The rare copy of this game is the North American variant, which was published by H-Tech and given a low production run, which led to it being worth hundreds to even thousands of dollars for a mint condition copy. Haunting Ground. Haunting Ground is a horror game developed and released by Capcom. In Haunting Ground, you play as Fiona Belli, a woman who wakes up in a mysterious European castle after surviving a car accident. The game has you escape a castle with limited combat abilities while being chased by a various amount of horrifying creatures and individuals. You have a dog in this game, and your dog in the game is a central character who helps attack enemies and solve puzzles with you. The core game revolves around evasion, puzzle solving, and encourages you to actually evade combat instead of participating in it, which is quite interesting. Haunting Ground didn't sell that great at launch. In fact, it was outcompeted by an iconic indie game released during this time by Capcom. Funnily enough, the little-known indie game was called Resident Evil 4. Anyways, the game was only ever released physically, which means it's the only way to actually play it, until it inevitably got dumped on PC, but I digress. The game is honestly a hidden gem. The gameplay itself is difficult and not too bad, more or less annoying. Funnily enough, the game isn't called Haunting Ground in Japan. It's actually called Demento, and it's region locked. Unfortunately, it's not as rare as European and ultimately North American versions of the game, which reach a significantly higher price point in comparison. The North American version of this game is rare due to the fact it's in low demand and can fetch quite a price tag for collectors. Echo Night Beyond. Echo Night Beyond is a horror game developed by the small indie company From Software, who made notable works like Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3. In Echo Night Beyond, you play as an astronaut who survives a shuttle crash en route to a lunar resort and explore an abandoned moon base, which is haunted by ghosts. You must avoid hostile enemies while helping spirits move on to the afterlife. The game is very similar in a way to Haunting Ground, but unlike in Haunting Ground where you can optionally attack enemies in certain situations, you're not able to traditionally attack enemies at all, leading to a unique puzzle-based horror evasion experience that is very obnoxious. The game didn't sell well, thus leading to a limited print run in Japan, North America, and Europe. The rarest version of this game is the North American variant, which can be priced into the hundreds to even thousands depending on its grade. Now, the reason all these games did poorly was due to the fact that they weren't as popular since they were niche games. Print runs were smaller since developers and publishers started to shift focus to the PS3 and Xbox 360 consoles, and also, they were released quite late into the PS2 development cycle and lifespan, thus reducing their chances of realistically gaining any traction. A lot of these games have flaws, but they're honestly very unique and were just overshadowed by the likes of Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil 4. Just because a game didn't sell well doesn't mean it's bad. If you're interested in any of these games, you should give them a chance. Don't obviously go out and buy a copy, because, you can sail the seven seas, or if you catch my drift. I'm not encouraging it, just stating the obvious. So that's pretty much it.